Yeah.
What do you think about robots? Do you think we're going to see autonomous robots laying pavers in the next 5 years?
I think we're going to start seeing them. I think people like you will buy them,
Yeah, we
but
will.
I don't think that most people will. I'll tell you why. I think people get tripped up on the wrong stuff in our business. And we're going to talk about this when you tell me the story of your business, but a lot of people get stuck in that survival mode.
Yeah.
And there's things right now like the Optimus Multi-6 that Pave Tool sells. It's $26,000. That will lay full pallets of pavers in minutes, hanging off of your excavator that you already have on site. You already used it to dig the site. You already used it to backfill. Now it sits there for the rest of the job, unused.
Yeah.
So
Just
instead of
watching all the guys break their backs.
exactly. So instead,
seat.
you get one guy in the cab operating, you get another guy guiding it down, and you're literally throwing down 12 square feet in 45 seconds.
Wow.
And people are reluctant to make that investment because they're like, well, my guys will do it faster. Your guys might do it faster for the first hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, but not by hour 8, not when it's 110 degrees outside, and not 5 days a week, 40 weeks a year. They're not consistent. It's not possible. Humans are not machines. Machines are machines. So will there be robots in 5 years? I think so, because they're already out there. You're seeing them on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube shorts with the roofers.
Oh, yeah.
So I think very basic patterns, robotics will have a place. I think once it starts getting into complex mosaics and different design forward things, which is something that most of our contractors love to do, that will stay in the hands of the craftsman. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because then the value is there for them. If you want something that's more craftsman style, more artisanal, more personalized for you, you will pay a top dollar for it, and you will get skilled people to do it. And if it's utilitarian, if it's parking lots and plazas and stuff like that, guys who want to get into commercial, 100%, because they're already investing in that type of machine that I just mentioned. If you can get a couple machines and you have people that are supervising the machines or filling in the cuts, if I can get 80% done, even 60% done with a robot, I think 5 years is pushing it, because I don't think that there's enough, although there's more and more money coming into the industry in terms of people buying companies and investing, private equity, things like that. I think within 5 to 10 years, I think guaranteed it'll happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a price point too, right? Because if robotics can get their battery powered price point down, if they can get their brain of the autonomous mower down, like that AI back end brain, if all that can come down through, scale in that industry, and the price point becomes cheaper, then I think we're going to see it at scale. But I think it's a good point for contractors out there. Like, you need to get very clear on what you want to focus on and who you want to be now. Because if you're doing, one day you're doing 30,000 square foot parking lots, and the next day you're doing a 3,000 square foot backyard for a custom residential, like, it's going to be really hard to do both those in 5 years. It's probably hard to do both those right now.
It's hard to do it right now. Yeah.
But if you get really focused and you are the custom residential person, and you have the mosaics, you have that custom touch to it, you can sell that, then you're going to really win in that market in the next 5 years. But if you're trying to be everything to everybody, I think the days of being everything to everybody are becoming shorter and shorter, and you got to pick a lane. You got to go all in that lane. That's a big challenge we're focused on right now.
So what's your lane?
Dude, we can't decide. I've got
there you go. That's why you're so sensitive to it. Like, that's the challenge for me too. Challenge. Yeah.
Like, I got Brian on my team, who's just like a commercial nut. Like, he loves commercial construction and he's all in on that. And then I got another team member who's like all in on residential design build. So they're in the same department, the construction department. And we're really trying to decide,
well, maybe it's just two divisions. Maybe it's just two divisions. Because if you have good people that can lead both sides, then what's stopping you?
Yeah, at this point, I'm basically just saying, look, I want to build you guys up to be CEOs of your own companies. So
Well,
let's
there you
have a
go.
commercial company. Let's have a residential, so we have this idea of like an operating company, if you will, right? Like an operating company operating high-end residential design build under its own logo, a commercial construction own logo, landscape maintenance, their own
Hmm.
logo.
Sure.
So, I think that's ultimately where we're going to end up going. And I think we're going to have different tiers. Like I think the landscape maintenance brand is going to be a national brand. Whereas the construction stuff is going to be more focused in, think of
Areas.
where we're at: Palo Alto, Atherton, Pebble Beach, Scottsdale, Arizona, San Diego, Carlsbad, maybe Las Vegas. So we're gonna identify these MSAs that really love high end residential. I mean, we want to work for the the Nvidia founders, the Mark Zuckerbergs, those guys. That's where the money's at.
This episode is brought to you by Hardscaper.com. The Hardscaper mission is to empower industry professionals with the skills, inspiration, and confidence they need to take their businesses to new heights. Struggling with training programs for your team? Looking for helpful tips to build a better company? Subscribe today to gain access to hours of interactive on-demand Hardscape construction and business courses for free. Check out Hardscaper.com. You're listening to Hardscape Growth, a podcast for hungry professionals who want to grow their businesses and level up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hardscape Growth Show. I'm your host, Alex from TechnoBlock, and today we're joined by Justin White. He is the CEO of K&D Landscaping out in California, beautiful place. And we met a few months ago. I reached out to Justin, said, hey, can we meet for lunch? And he's like, yes, I'll take my plane. Not the most common answer, but I love the answer. And it shows just how much of a unique guy he is and just how much of a big thinker and big dreamer he is. And that's why he's here. I was recently at a Landscaper event in Charlotte. And Justin, you took the stage and you told the story of what happened, how you got really, really involved in the business. And that's what I want you to share with our audience, because in that story are at least 5 killer lessons that I wrote down that I want you to share with everyone today. And from there, we can expand into some of the things of like how that applies to you and what the future does look like we've already started talking about here.
Yeah, dude, Alex, thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor. I love talking shop, talking about this industry. I'm very bullish on the landscape industry as a whole. I think we're in a pivotal point. I think we're in this pivotal point with technology, with automation, with people. Landscaping sexy again. Blue collar work is sexy again. We are going to be the tech companies of 2035. I truly believe that. I truly believe that landscaping, hardscaping, roofing, plumber, electrician, we will be the Facebook, the Google, the Metas of 2035. And I think the people who invest in their businesses and themselves today will win over the next 5 to 10. So a little bit about me. I grew up in the landscape industry. I literally grew up in the trenches. My parents started the business about the same time I was born, in the late 80s. And it was just my mom and dad. My dad was pushing mowers and doing what he had to do to make a little bit of extra money on the side. My mom was running the books. It grew into a legit business, and they grew to about $1 million, $1.5 million in revenue, 15 employees. I'm sure it's a story that most people can relate to. Maybe you're there today. And in 2008, it was the time I started working the business in 2007, full time as a laborer in the field, doing retaining walls, putting in pavers, all that fun stuff. And it was like the heydays, like 2005, 6, and 7 were great years in landscaping, if for those who remember. And then 2008 came, a housing crash specifically hit California hard, and our business kind of evaporated overnight. And I realized just how fragile this industry can be, just how fragile that revenue is, especially in construction. Well, we ended up digging out of that hole, making it through. It was a tough time, but we built back up. And by 2012, 2013, we were doing another, 1.8 million in revenue. And I had fallen in love with the business at that point. So I really didn't see myself as a landscaper growing up. But around that point, 22, 23 is when I kind of got serious about it and said, I think there might be something here. So fast forward a few years, 2015, a lot changed. My mom decided to retire out of the business, and she left the state of California, moved to Oregon. And my dad and I were ready to double down on the business. More me than my dad, honestly. My dad was kind of like, at that point, 30 years in, he kind of wanted a break. So I took over as CEO. with some with some persuading of my dad and honestly my mom at that point, because she still had a vested interest in getting paid out. But I was able to buy my mom out in partnership with my brother, my sister, and my cousin. So it was really four of us, next generation kids, and my cousin Jessica. We bought my mom out. We stepped up. I was kind of the leader of that team as a CEO. And I hired a business coach, which was an amazing coincidence that he just so happened to call us on the day that I was feeling like I was ready to quit. And he believed in me. He believed in the vision of what we can be. He believed in how big we can grow. And he helped me understand how big the industry was. You know, we're all in our bubbles.
Let me stop you right there and ask about this coach. Because A, how did he find you? B, what made you say, because lots of people know about, like, it's 2025. Everyone is aware that there are coaches, there are mentors, there are people that I can talk to, but very few actually do it. So part A is, how did this guy find you? Part B was, how did you decide you had the stones to invest in that? Because that costs money too. And if you're already in survival mode, you may not have that cash in your pocket.
We didn't have the money, honestly. It was a stretch. So, and guys, 2015, this is kind of before, like, you know, Andy Elliott really took off, before all these gurus showed up. This is kind of before the big coaching evolution, I would say, that we see today. So everybody's got a community. Everyone's got, you know, I have one too. Everyone's got a coach. Everyone's got something going on. 2015, it was not quite that world. So when Jonathan Goldhill's the coach who called, my dad was like, shit, we don't need a coach. What are you talking about, coach? We don't need anyone. Like, we're good on where we're at. And I had the opposite feeling. I felt like we really need someone to guide me and guide us into the future. So Jonathan found us through a cold call. He looked up the CLCA directory, and we were CLCA members, California Landscape Contractor Association.
Okay.
And he called on us at the right time and said, hey, I'm pretty sure his line was something like, I'm a landscape business coach that specializes in helping family companies transition generations. And we're in the middle of fighting.
Good timing.
I'll be honest. Yeah. Like, we're like, my mom, my dad, and I, us three, are kind of fighting over equity, valuation. What's the buyout? What are the terms? What's the CEO responsibilities? Like, this is all new stuff. And so when he called, it was perfect timing. My parents weren't for it. I was for it. We ended up deciding to do it. I think it was $3,500 a month. And that was a ton of money at the time. It's a ton of money now for a coach. And Jonathan acted as a therapist more than a business coach for the first 6 months. And I got to say, like, in a way,
you basically hired a full-time employee at that rate.
Yeah, basically at that time.
Especially 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, exactly. That was a full-time salary for sure. Yeah. And he saved, I think, the relationship between me and my mom at that point. I mean, it was really rocky. And my parents were divorced or going through a divorce at this point. So there's just so much more to this story that if anyone wants to hear directly, give me a call. I'll tell you more details offline. So Jonathan comes in, helps us, therapies us our way through. And we end up setting a vision. And so this was like 3 months in. He goes, all right, Justin, it's time to set a vision. So we sat down on a quarterly planning session, and he said, where do you want to be in 10 years? I have no idea. What are 10 years from now? Why are we talking about 10 years? Let's just focus on the next 2 to 3 years. But he wouldn't let it go. He forced me to set a vision, and I decided I want to be a $30 million company by 2030. So 30 by 30, it was easy. It sounded good. I was like 30 by 30 and 300 employees. So we had our 30 by 30 by 300 goal, and we set that. It was a 15-year goal at the time, and seemed completely unreasonable. Felt like I'd never hit it. And granted, at this time in 2015, there was only 8 companies on the lawn and landscape top 100 that were over $100 million. There's only 8 companies over 100 million. So I want to make sure that, like, today, like, everybody feels like they're over 100 million. That's like the price to enter on that top 100 list. But at the time, this is like 30 million was a big number. Like Mariani in 2015 was 35 million. Today, Mariani's, I don't know, 700-800 million, crazy. So I just want to take everyone back to 10 years ago because it was such a different market. And we set a purpose of raising the bar in the landscape industry, which was the most important thing we did, way beyond more important than the financial target that we set and the employee target that we set. We rolled out core values, which, again, I would say the core values were more important than anything else. So it's like most important thing we did, core values. Second most, purpose of raising the bar. Third most, we set a big target. And that's kind of how that came to be.
So what are the core values and how did you decide those? Because I've had this conversation with a few different people and they have different core values, and some people really do a good job of living them, and some people do a really good job of coming up with them and plastering them on the walls and the shirts, and then they don't actually happen.
Yeah, that was our biggest concern and why I originally was against core values. But we ended up going with it, and we have made those come to life. So we have 6. So it's professionalism, teamwork, respect, safety, humility, and hunger. Those 6 core values, and they're more keystone values than core values. These should exist in every good human being, and every good landscaper, and every good professional. These 6 should exist. We don't want to hire anyone who's not safe or not professional or not hungry. So these core values guided us for so many years. But 2 years ago, we realized these were like the price of entry and not the price to be a leader or the price of promotion. Like, everybody had these core values, but we wanted to go a step further. So we rolled out these things. And for those watching the video, I'm going to show this. We rolled out this thing called the K&D way. And it's basically 30 fundamentals that go in depth of our core values. It really goes in and talks about the levels beyond the core values. And just a few of them, like be curious, practice blameless problem solving, honor commitments, find a way to overcome, stuff like that. And we did it in English and Spanish. So our core values guide us, but these 30 fundamentals truly define us. We have them in English and Spanish, and there are non-negotiable standards and our expectations for how our culture works. So we really took it to the next level just a couple of years ago.
And then I love that little, because it's like pocket size too. Like it lives in your wallet. Like you always have it.
I have it everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. And then you said your purpose is raising the bar. What does that mean to you? Because that's a broad statement.
Yeah. Raising the bar.
Or is it intentionally broad because everyone can bring their spin on it?
It's intentionally broad so everyone can plug into it and everyone can put their own purpose in it. I believe everyone in our company needs to be able to see themselves in our vision and our purpose. And if you have too finite of a purpose, I feel like you run the risk of alienating some of your team members. And if your purpose is 3 sentences or 2 paragraphs and it's like this giant mission statement, like no one remembers it. Mm-hmm. I was talking to someone I'm not going to name, and they're like, I love our mission, like our purpose. It's so perfect. And I go, what is it? They're like, hold on. It is to make the landscape world a better place and to beautify and it goes on and on and on. I go, wow, that is amazing, but you don't even remember it. So ours is raise the bar for simplicity and for generalities. For me, raising the bar means making the landscape industry a better place to work, to live, and to operate. You know, we spend so much of our time in work mode. I probably, out of my waking hours, like, you know, out of 18 hours I'm awake, I'm probably spending 15 to 16 of those thinking or actually doing something related to the landscape industry. I'm truly a workaholic today. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's just where I'm at in my life. And a lot of that drive comes from making the landscape industry a better place, raising the bar, raising wages, helping to improve the professionalism of our industry, improve the respect that we get on the job site. You know, going to a commercial job site where a lot of what the time I put in was on commercial job sites, you know, you're the lowest guy on the totem pole, like electricians, plumbers, roofers, glaziers, like list any other trade, and they're basically feel like they're above you. And so my whole thing is I believe the landscape industry is going to become like this major leader in the trades, and we are going to leapfrog all other trades. And we are doing that. And Alex, big shout out to you guys and Techo Block, because you guys are showing the craftsmanship of the landscape industry, of the hardscaper, and how amazing the work we can do is. And I think that's been lost a little bit through consolidation, through some of these roll-ups. It's become, you know, it's become EBITDA and measurements of profit and multiples, and less about the people doing this amazing work. So that's really where my mission is rooted, is in the people.
And what's nice about that, the way you said it, is not just is it about the people, like you are those people. Like you lived it. You lived the feeling of, like you just said, showing up on that commercial site and being like the least respected trade there, despite having to have the most skills and the most disciplines under your belt to be able to execute what you need to execute. You need all of their skills plus all the other skills just to exist as a business.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
mean, I was
it's pretty wild when you think about it. Like, it is one of the most complex forms of construction or trades that exists, and yet the respect level isn't there.
yeah, what we do, and in California, our license is C-27. What we do under the C-27 list is insane. We can build pools, we can put in gas lines, or at least oversee people putting in gas lines. We could oversee pergolas being built, decks being built, hardscapes going in, fireplaces, obviously decomposed granite and turf and planting, irrigation and low voltage lighting. Like, we're building outdoor environments that rival indoor environments. Our outdoor kitchens, I think I can confidently say 90% of our clients that we built outdoor kitchens for cook outside more than they cook inside.
Once you have one, it's a better experience.
Like, my dad has a
So
bitchin'
much better.
outdoor kitchen.
Yeah.
He never cooks inside. Like, maybe he'll cook the beans on the stove inside, but like everything is on the barbecue. Everything's in the pizza oven. Every meal we've ever eaten together is outside. I mean, we're in California, granted, we have a nice
Yeah.
weather here, but you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, man?
Yeah, yeah.
We build incredible outdoor environments, and we're finally as of today, thanks again to what we're doing and what a lot of others are doing, we're bringing awareness to what we're building.
Mhm.
And we are starting. I'm seeing the respect factor click up. I'm seeing people coming into our office applying for a job who they were working at this hotel, they were working at this restaurant, or they were working
Really,
at this
yeah?
concrete company. It's pretty cool.
That's very cool. So I want to jump back to one piece, and then I have a few other questions. But that $30 million, which you said was a big number, and you kind of didn't even believe that it was doable in the first place. When did that shift in your head? That, like, A, I'm going to put this number down anyway.
Yeah.
And then B, when did you actually start believing in it?
Well, 2016, we kicked off 2016 with all this, right? We had the vision, we had the purpose, the core values. We held a planning session. We kicked it off to the whole team. Granted, like 18 employees, the whole team.
It's still 18 people, man.
Yeah.
That's 18 people you got to get on the bus.
It is.
Yeah.
2018. All right. So all of 16, all of 17, and the first part of 18. And it was October of 2018. We hit, on a trailing 12-month status, we hit 5 million in revenue. So we went from like 1.5 to 5 million in a little over 2 years.
And what changed aside from setting that goal? What did you do that got you, like, you had to change some fundamental things?
Every decision I made, I asked myself, does this work at 30 million? Is this a $30 million decision? And instead of just trying to keep the crews busy every week and try to, sell a little bit of work, it was, we got to hit 10 million by 2025. So we need to be making these decisions to get to a $30 million company. I hired a manager. I hired a supervisor. I had never hired these positions before. It was just me, my dad, my brother, my sister or cousin in the office, and then a bunch of crew leaders. And that was it. And now that we hired these managers, we hired 2, and they changed the way we looked at everything.
Did you hire them right away?
We hired them right away, like 2017 and then 2018. And we hired
16, you put all this in motion. 17, you're like, okay, I need more of a team, because 16 we didn't move down that timeline. We're not on track right now. I need a boost. I need to find the right people and get them on board. What are the roles that I need?
I went to the bank. I got a line of credit increase from 100 to 250,000. Give me 150K. And I took a risk hiring a couple people. We made those hires, brought them on. We had a construction lead, we had a maintenance lead, and we were off and running. And all of a sudden, the sales started coming in, and the revenue started jumping up. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're at 5 million. And I go, like, guys, I think this is possible. And then from 2018, we doubled again. From 2018 to 2020, we hit 10 million at 2020.
Yeah.
Alex, that was when we hit 10 million during COVID. That was when I realized we are for sure onto something. And I was 100% confident we were going to smash right past our $30 million target in the year 2020 during COVID. Because during COVID, when everybody shut down and everybody played off defense and everybody hid behind their cameras, I rallied my team in the middle of, like, California, an hour south of San Francisco. I said, we are not shutting down. Yeah. We're not shutting down. I wrote a letter to my team. We got pulled over by the sheriff. They gave the letter to, it was a whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And I just, dude, honestly, I think, what is it? Yeah. Statute of limitations are up. I just faked everything. Like I just wrote the letter saying like, we have permission by the United States governor to be out here maintaining landscapes, blah, blah, blah. And I just said, screw it. Everyone else is playing defense. We're going to go out there. We're going to sell work. We're going to close jobs. We're going to clean this place up and we're going to keep hiring. So we hired some amazing people in 2020. We built an incredible company, but I learned a big lesson. And
What's
in
that?
2021, we lost like $1 million because I had built too big of a team and I had too much overhead. So I like,
You could fulfill the work, or
no, the work didn't come. Like we had too many managers. I built the leadership team. I created VP positions, all this stuff. And then we didn't grow in 2021. Like it just stalled out. No one was making decisions. If you guys remember, like residential was going on fire. Commercial was like halted. So 21 was like the worst year ever. But 22, when things bounced back, I had the people and I had the bandwidth and we grew super fast. So again, we doubled again now. I'll just jump to it. From 2020 to 2024, we doubled from 10 to 20 million. And that allowed us to do that because I had built that team. And that team was ready for growth. Had I not built that team in 2020 and lost money in 21 and survived, we would not be at 20 million now. So that's a big, like, everything
in that time frame from 21 to 24. I don't know many people that doubled their business. I know a lot of people that hit the peak 21, maybe 22. That was their peak. And it's been down, down, down since then. Not dramatically down, but like they're not doing the Scrooge McDuck dive into the pool of cash.
No,
No,
and it's been a grind, man. It's been such a grind, but with our mindset we have, it's not a matter of if we're going to grow or fingers crossed. Let's hope we're going to grow. Hope's not a strategy. Like we are very determined to hit our goals and to grow our business. And that's what we're doing.
So you were giving someone a shout out. I want to give you the opportunity to tell us who are the most critical, you don't need to name them, but just the most critical positions that you learned in that time frame. Like if you're going to go on this journey, you need this one, you need this one, you need that one at minimum. Otherwise, you're tearing yourself into too many small pieces, and you won't be effective.
Yeah. Okay. So the first person you're going to need is your right hand. And if you're an operator, a heavy operations type person, you love operations, you need a visionary. You almost need like a CEO type person, someone who's going to think big picture, think 5 years ahead. For me, I'm the visionary. I'm not the operation mindset. So I hired a COO, and my COO, John, came on in 2021, or actually beginning of 22, and he absolutely changed our business. So fun fact here, we doubled from 21 to 24, from 10 to 20 million, and we did not, well, we hired and fired, but we did not increase our headcount. We only increased our headcount by like 10 people. Crazy stat. And all
insane.
that like a lot of that goes to John because of his operational efficiency he drove through the business. So sometimes it's not a matter of hiring more people, it's hiring the right person to help operationally,
so
efficiently run your business.
First a right hand that balances you out.
Yeah. You need someone you can bounce off,
Yeah.
and you could really have your go-to. The second you need someone who's going to run your back end, your HR, your finance, your people, your admin, your marketing, all of that. You need someone to oversee that, because most owners get dragged into that bucket and they do it not
half-heartedly.
Halfway.
Yeah.
And so the unlock you can have with a really, really good people team, or we call it employee success team, the unlock you could have with your team members, the amount of promotions you can do, it's really incredible. So you need someone back in, we call it director of support, director of administration, whatever you want to call that. That's Jessica. She's a rock star. She's also my cousin, one of the owners. It helps if these people have equity. The next person you need someone to oversee your specific division. So we have two clear divisions. We have a construction division and a maintenance division. There's fractions within those, like I was saying earlier. But the idea is you need someone to lead construction. You need someone to lead maintenance. So John, our COO, you would think, oh, he probably runs all the operations. Well, not quite. He's like the grease to the operations, or the oil to lubricate the operations. He doesn't necessarily have project managers reporting to him. He doesn't have project managers reporting to him. He doesn't have operation managers reporting to him. He is able to freely move throughout the company and help improve things. He's not bogged down with 15 direct reports. So you do need those leaders of your division. If you have one, great. If you have three, then maybe you need three. And so those 4 people, I would say, right? So our divisional manager of maintenance, our VP of construction, our director of support, and our chief operating officer, those 4 people were the unlock for me. That is our leadership team. And then outside of that, yeah, maybe a HR manager, a controller, a CFO, depending on the size of your company. I think people get a little bit too excited and hire too many overhead people too quickly when they're growing. That's what I did. So, what I'm defining is kind of a $20 million leadership team. If you're a $3, $4, $5 million company, you've got to look for this, but you've got to find a way to do it at economic factors
at the right price point for you. Yeah.
Correct.
So what do you think that would look like with the benefit of hindsight now and having been at that stage and taken it to this stage? What would that look like if that's where I'm at?
So you need to know where you want to be over the next 3 to 5 years. Because if you truly want to, if you're let's say you're 5 million in revenue, and you want to be 10 million in 2 to 3 years, then you got to make some hires, but you also got to do what I call superhero mode. So superhero mode is basically going to take you to 7 or 8 million in revenue. That's where it's you and a bunch of crew leaders and maybe a back end office assistant. That's superhero mode. And at 7 or 8 million, depending on where you're at and what you're doing, you will hit a wall and you will fall back down to 5 million. I've seen it time and time and time again. You have to find that right-hand person to help alleviate some of those responsibilities of superhero mode so you can get to 10 million. But as of today, I would say with AI and technology, you need to find your 1 or 2 people. I think 3 people could run a $20 million company as a leadership team very effectively today. So I would, with hindsight, I would lean on the side of lean and I would keep my team really small and make sure that we're utilizing technology, AI, all that stuff to scale the company as quick as possible and not to overwhelm the team, but to keep the ratio appropriate between overhead salaries and revenue. And that ratio, roughly, you want to be somewhere between 18 and 22% of revenue as far as your overhead salary. That includes the owner and everybody. Now, if you're doing a bunch of subcontracting and huge hardscape jobs, then maybe that ratio is going to be a little lower. If you're just a pure maintenance company, your revenue is not going to be as high per employee. So maybe that percentage is a little higher, but 18 to 22 is a pretty nice number that I've seen most companies be profitable at.
Okay. So that takes me to another part of the story that you shared, which is the strategic planning part. You set these big, audacious goals. You start to implement the infrastructure needed to do it by hiring people, take out a loan. You're betting on it.
Yeah.
But now you need the strategy you need the roadmap, the blueprint for these guys to follow. So is that something that you already had? Is that something that you got the right people on board and we build it together? What was your approach?
So again, Jonathan Goldhill helped us big with this. We rolled out EOS in 2018, and that's when we got really serious about strategic planning. I have strategic plans. You saw it. I shared one from 2017 that was very in-depth. It's a 1-page strategic plan from the Vern Harnish scaling up methodology. And we had that built out, and that basically shows everything. Where do we want to be in 3 years? Where do we want to be in 10 years? What does the team look like? What's our geographic look like? What's our service mix look like? What are our core values? What's our purpose? What's our reason for being? It's all these things. And then it's like, what's the 1-year plan? And then what's the 90-day plan? So I think I break it up into these categories as far as strategic planning. You have your 10-year goal or your 15-year goal, something way out there that seems impossible. It has to be big. Then you have your 3-year goal. And your 3-year goal, I'm a big believer in making it very achievable. So I call it a 3HAG. I got this from an author somewhere. It's called a 3-year highly achievable goal.
Okay.
I want this goal to feel
as
really,
opposed
really
to the BHAG, which is the big, the big hairy goal. That's right.
Yeah,
that's the dream. Okay, and the 3HAG is like, okay, that's the baby steps.
And I'll share with you guys our BHAG here in a little bit, and it's a good example of just a ridiculously big goal. Your 3HAG is highly achievable, and then your 1-year goal needs to be something that you can share with the bank, with investors, with people who will hold you accountable. This 1-year goal is not aspirational. This 1-year goal needs to be like, you need to be able to attain this goal. Too many people set 1-year goals that are way too high, way too out of realm, and they never achieve that 1-year goal. And so your team just feels like you're never actually getting to where you set your goals. So it's really important that with your goal setting, you have an attainable 1-year goal, and then break that down into your 90-day sprint. And so that 90-day, that quarterly goal, that's very clear. That's basically your forecast or your budget for the next 90 days. What's your revenue? What's your profit? Who do you need to hire? What systems do you need to put in? What technology do you need to onboard? Are we expanding into a new market? If so, it's probably a multi-quarter project. What are the things we can do this quarter to set ourselves up for where we want to be in 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
So knowing where you want to be in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 3 years, 10 years allows the CEO and your leadership team to make decisions with confidence, with risk, but confidence of where we're going to be. And without that strategic plan, and so many businesses don't have this, you guys are probably feeling overwhelmed, and it's really hard to make decisions. You're probably having decision fatigue. So when the client or your project manager or your crew calls you with a fire, you love those phone calls, even though you complain about them, because it's really easy to make that decision.
Yeah, that's right.
It's really hard when you have to make a decision around hiring a VP or buying a bunch of equipment or opening up a new yard. That stuff's hard. So
and it's harder when you don't know where you're trying to go.
It's impossible.
You're feeling it out. It depends on how you're feeling that day.
Yeah.
Half the time.
Yeah. Like I have days where let's go to the moon, let's do everything. Yeah. And then other days I'm like,
park the car. You're yanking the handbrake. Yeah. That's it. I'm not doing anything till someone gives me an answer on where the hell this thing is.
Yeah. You've got to regulate those emotions as an executive. You've got to regulate those. Your team, Alex, you run a big division of Teco. I mean, it comes and goes. Your energy and motivation.
Yeah, it's that in and of itself is a major skill to develop. Okay, well, that's good because actually that dovetails nicely into the next point, which is the mindset. What's your mindset? What's your belief around mindset?
My mindset is I can accomplish anything in the world that anyone else can accomplish. So anything that's possible, we can do it. I believe that wholeheartedly, fully, without hesitation. And that ability to believe in yourself is a skill that's developed. It requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of like inward thinking and meditation. And it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So when you do these planning sessions and you create these goals and then accomplish these goals, it's just like anything else. It's like you build that confidence, that momentum that you believe you can now do something great. And when we look at some of these people that are accomplishing incredible feats, whether it's inside of our industry or outside of our industry, you start to see patterns with these individuals. You see how they can do this, and you start to understand, okay, that's how they're doing it. They surround themselves with the right people. They believe in these amazing, huge, huge things. The speaker once asked the room, he said, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? If you could never fail, what would you do? And I said something like, I would grow my company to 500 million in revenue, or like I would give everyone a huge bonus. And everyone wrote something down, and he goes, you guys are all thinking way too small. Like no one here said they were going to solve world hunger. No one here said they were going to do this or do that. Like it was so small and micro into our spheres. So with mindset, you have to think, I shouldn't say you have to think bigger, but you just have to be confident within your capabilities of what you want to accomplish. Not everybody wants to go take over the world or do whatever they want to do. Like people, some of them just want to be needed. Some people just want to feel loved and feel connected and feel at home and feel safe and feel free to move and do what they want to do and not stress about money. Like all that comes from the right mindset. And when you have the right mindset and you believe in that mindset, all those concerns and those worries slowly go away with the right actions, with the right intentions, and with, following truly what you want to do in life, not what someone else wants you to do. So I do think mindset is a tricky one, but you have to be confident within yourself and your own being, because if you don't have that, you're just going to get pushed around and kind of like go with the wind. And I don't think that's the best way to live. I think you have to have like very foundational core beliefs in your ability to accomplish your goals and your dreams.
Mm-hmm. You said things like meditation. How long did it take you to figure out that was kind of your way to figure that part out, to maintain that mindset and to maintain that confidence? Because like you said, there's big ups and there's big downs. And it's easy to lose yourself in that process if you don't have these like rocks that you can hang on to.
Yeah. So, funny enough, it really was escalated. So I believe in meditation. And for a long time, I thought it was just BS. And then I started meditating around like 2016, 2017. And it was like a thing I did. I didn't really connect with it. In 2019, I had a massive injury. I broke my femur dirt biking way up in the mountains.
Whoa.
I almost died, had to get airlifted by a helicopter. It was this whole fiasco. And through that pain of having this, broken leg and not having any pain medicine for like an hour and going through this thing, and then the recovery, the 6 months of learning how to walk again. I also, side note on that, I have kidney disease. So the other issue with this is I couldn't really take pain medicine. So although they gave me some pain medicine right off the bat, they didn't know. Pretty quickly into the hospital, they were like, "Sorry, dude, you're just gonna have to grit this one out.
You're on your own."
I was like, the ibuprofen you get out of the store? Like I got 2 of those a day.
That's
right?
it.
And I'm sitting there with a broken leg in the hospital, like dying.
Wow.
That only way to get through that, the only way to get through that and not lose your mind and just want to, end it all is deep meditation. You have to be in a meditative state. The mind state that you can get into can remove all the pain from the body. And so I trained under Wim Hof for this period of time. I went and saw him personally and was able to identify this ability of deep breathing and breath work to relieve pain in a moment where, that's all you could think about was the pain going through your body. So that 6-month period in 2019, it was June through December, basically. I had to reinvent myself as a human, learn how to walk, all those things from this injury. And since that moment, that was a gift of an injury that gave me this ability to be deeply connected to the self that is within my body. And that then led me to now go through some of the most stressful, crazy stuff. I'm trying not to cuss, but
that's fine.
and like not be totally thrown off. So, that I don't know how much that helps other people, but I do think that sometimes it takes a traumatic event and working through that traumatic event. And then if you've gone through something like that, most people hide from that trauma. We call it
they bury it away. Yeah.
Bury it away. Like that is a gift, no matter what it is, that you can utilize to make yourself stronger, to build on top of that. Don't hide it. Use it as a foundation to make yourself a more confident, strong human being going forward. So that's truly, I think, we were going so deep in the philosophical side of things, but it all ties in, guys. It all ties in to being a strong leader, a strong executive, a strong business owner, a strong hardscaper, crew leader, whatever it is out there, guys. Like it all ties in. So that's kind of how I figured out mindset.
Yeah. No, it's perfect though. Regardless of what it is, though, it is a routine thing that allows you to focus in a very specific way. So it could be that, it could be journaling, it could be walking, it could be all of the above, but you have these waypoints in your life, these rocks are like, that's where I'm going for this. And you have a purpose for it. Exactly. And it comes back to that same thing. What do you want and how are you going to get it? And that's one of the ways that you can get those things. So I love it. Okay. Let's wrap up with the BHAG, because you said you were gonna save that for later. So now is later.
So I want to encourage everyone to think big, dream big. And I had set a BHAG for 2035, and I was at dinner with someone who is a billionaire, and basically, as I started to tell him my BHAG of like grown to 100 million with 1,000 employees, he just like laughed. He goes, "Dude, you're so much bigger than that. What are you thinking?" And as the words left my mouth, I was like, "This is way too small." So that night I went back and I reinvented the BHAG, and it starts off with, we want to create $150 million of wealth for our employees. So that's number one. To do that, we feel like a 15% management employee pool of the total equity of the company is going to be appropriate. So you just do some math, and that puts us at $1 billion in value, which I would say just $1 billion in revenue as well. We're just going to go with that 1-to-1. So we want to be $1 billion in revenue and $1 billion in value by 2035, while creating $150 million of wealth for our employees. And at exit, if we exit in 2035, we want to create 35 millionaires overnight and hundreds of 100,000aires within our company. So I want every single person in the entire company to get something, whether it's 50,000, 60,000. I want crew leaders to be walking around with 250,000. And I want everyone in our company to be able to afford a house in 2035. So our BHAG is multi-tiered, but if I had to sum it up in one word, we want to be $1 billion landscape company by 2035.
Yeah, but the why behind it is the most important and powerful piece.
Most important.
It's you're doing it to empower and build a future for everyone. And that is where I was hoping that you were going to go, because that is the purpose of dreaming big, is to create enough opportunities so that everyone on your team, everyone that you care about, and even the people that they care about can benefit from it, because that's the power that you have when you lead an organization, when you lead a business, or when you choose to build one from scratch.
That's it, man. Everybody here listening to this would love to pay every employee $100,000 minimum salary. Like, I don't know any landscaper that would be against doing that and say, actually, I'll take the extra money. But if you can afford to do it and still make a nice profit and still make a nice living and hit your goals and pay your every employee a minimum of $100,000, everyone would do that. And I think it's just a matter of time. We're in the right industry at the right time. You're at a pivot point. It's perfect. And I look at companies like NVIDIA, where like every employee is worth $10 million or something. And I just go, we're going to be that in 2035. We will be the tech companies of 2035 and 2040. And I want to lead the charge to get us there. And there's a number of influential individuals who are leading that charge. You're one of them, Alex. I appreciate being on the podcast with you. We're going to change the world. We're going to change the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Super, super, super. I cannot stress it enough. Honored and privileged to have had the opportunity to meet you a few months ago. You're an incredible person. Your passion, your vision, your leadership is just, it's second to none. And I agree with you 100%. I've been saying it for years. Like, we're just on the infancy of our industry. And when it pops off, no one's going to believe how big it can get. And I can feel it. It's coming now. And meeting people like you with that energy and with that vision, like, yeah, there's enough of us now that we can do it. So 100%, I'm with you, and we're going to make it happen.
Let's do it, man. Can't wait. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure being on today. Thank you for letting me come on here and share some of what we're doing out here. Really
absolutely.
Honored.
If people want to reach out to you, want to find you, want to talk to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
2 ways, probably. Instagram. You can find me at Justin White CEO on Instagram, and then just find Justin White, K&D Landscaping on LinkedIn. Reach out, get a hold of me, and happy to talk, happy to have conversations with anyone in this industry. I'm an open book, and I just want to help people achieve their dreams.
Yeah, we're going to keep building some awesome stuff together. Thank you so much. And until next time, everybody, work hard, pave harder, and we'll see you next time on the Hardscape Growth Show. You've been listening to Hardscape Growth, a podcast for hungry professionals who want to grow their businesses and level up. Each episode is all about taking the next step in running your business, so make sure you never miss a show by subscribing on your favorite podcast player. And if you're finding this information to be useful, help others in your position discover us by giving us a star rating and leaving a comment. We'll see you next week.